You are enjoying your contrasting, desire-provoking experience. You revel in the perfection of the contrast that haunts you day after day, prodding you to clarity on all manner of subjects. You are enjoying your conscious realization that you are focusing mechanisms, that you are vibrational beings, vibrational focusers, vibrational interpreters, more electronic than flesh, blood, and bone, although that part of you is nice too. Every part of you vibrating. Consciousness all about vibration. Thought transfer like radio signals, even without a radio, because you are one. You are a transmitting, receiving mechanism, interpreting vibration on all levels of your being. And great fun ensues when you do it on purpose, when you deliberately project a thought, deliberately make sure that the thought projection, which is your desire, is surrounded by, enhanced by, supported by all of the resounding vibration of your being. In other words, you believe what you're asking for. And in that alignment that you have learned to hone, you are a perfect vibrational match to your own desire, and then law of attraction does its work, and you call it your advantage. Now, when that same thing happens, and you're not consciously tending to your own vibration, so you hold desires that you don't commonly agree with in terms of day-to-day thought. In other words, your desire is I hope that someday maybe it might, and your belief is it probably won't, it hasn't yet. So what happens is you're not a match to your own desire. You're not lined up with your own desire. You're a sort of vibrational quagmire, offering as much resistance about your desire as you are belief about your desire. And then law of attraction still does its work. It still matches your vibrational content. And when it happens in that way, you say, not necessarily to my benefit. In fact, it felt like it was to my detriment. And then you usually say, and somebody should do something about that. And we agree. Now, the difference between what you think about that and what we think about that is that you usually mean somebody else should do something about it, and we always mean you, because you are the only one who can vibrate for you. That is not to say that you cannot be influenced to vibration. You are all the time. You have been since the day you were born into this physical body. And sometimes beliefs that your parents held, or your peers hold, or your mass consciousness seems to promote, sometimes through sheer osmosis, which is what we call creating by default, you begin to observe and therefore vibrate in harmony with all kinds of things you do not want. However, you also vibrate through osmosis with all kinds of things that you do want. In other words, you have a whole host of beliefs that you've picked up along your physical trail that are serving you enormously well, just as there are some that are not serving you so well. For example, your mass consciousness seems to believe in physical decline as you move through time. Not necessary at all, but you seem to believe it. If you do not have a health care plan in place, you are in panic. You are so afraid that the inevitable will happen to you before you're financially prepared to pay for all that extensive care that you undoubtedly will need as you slide into the decline of age. And we're wanting you to realize that these are only beliefs that are promoted, and that because you have not consciously taken the time to set your own tone and to choose your vibration, sometimes you believe it. And then when you believe it, the really interesting thing about that is you offer a vibration that matches your belief, and then law of attraction gives you evidence that matches your belief, and then you say, my belief is right. Look there, look there, look there, look there. And we say, it's all you have access to. You don't have access to evidence that is outside your belief. So then you say, but Abraham, there are facts. There are facts. Look at these statistics. And we say, it's just a compilation of a bunch of beliefs. It doesn't have anything to do with you. And you say, but there are so many. And we say, there are many that would serve you to acknowledge and practice, and there are some that do not serve you to acknowledge and practice. Why not choose? Oh, what a novel idea. I can choose what I give my attention to. Therefore, I can choose the vibration that I offer. Therefore, I can choose my point of attraction, therefore I can choose how my life unfolds? And we say, yes, indeed. You knew it when you came forth. That's why you were willing to come forth with so many other weird ones. You did not feel threatened by the diversity. You said that adversity is a good thing because if we bounce off of one another, we will conclude new ideas. We'll take thought beyond that which it has ever been before. And then all I have to do is choose among the thoughts, practice some until they become my dominant vibration, and then they will be a dominant part of my vibration, a dominant part of my point of attraction, and I will live happily ever after. That's what you said, and we're here to remind you. You did not say, when I look over there and I see that, it's so upsetting to me. And if that would just change, I would feel ever so much better. And we say, you probably would feel better if that would change. But when you need it to change before you feel better, now you are in deep trouble. Because it's not going to change for you necessarily. It might. It's not a good thing. If you have someone close to you like a mother or a mate, someone who adores you, it's not a good thing when they stand on their head to make your world perfect. Because they teach you a very conditional approach to life. They teach you that when you see that and feel good, you like it, and when you see that and feel bad, you don't like it. And so, as they scramble around and try to make everything that you see good, now you have no ability to live in the world. Now, you need someone to go ahead of you and smooth out all the kinks in the road, and we say, we've never met one that good. We've never met one that could be that interested in you. And so it is ever so much better when you decide that you are going to choose what thoughts are dominant within you. So there are two new words that we want to talk about today, and we'll talk about them a lot as we are moving forward. The first is dominant. What is my dominant vibration? What is my dominant vibration on the subject of money? Well, the way you know is by the way you feel. When you think about money, do you feel free and eager and unlimited, adventurous, or do you feel worried, limited? You know. You can tell, just when we ask the question, you can tell which of those you more often feel like. Sometimes you say, well, I feel some of all of it, a little at different times. Different times I feel different ways. And we say that's good because that means you can choose from among those choices. But you know which of those choices. Does money feel like a happy subject to you or a not happy subject? You know. When you think about your dominant relationship, does it feel like fun and fancy and freedom, or does it feel like hard work and bondage? You know. When you think about your body, does it feel flexible and unlimited and vital and alive and healthy and sure-footed? Or are you worried about your body? Do you feel tentative and unsteady? You know what you've practiced, and what we are suggesting to you is that while you can, as you sit here and listen to us, you can tell rather easily where you lean in terms of your dominant vibrations. What we are saying to you is, it doesn't matter what your dominant vibrations are, you can change them, and you can change them quickly. And that's basically what we would be talking about here today. The other word that we think it would be of value for you to focus upon a little bit is the word activate. Because every thought that has ever been thought still exists. Every thought that you have ever thought, or anyone else has ever thought, has the potential of being activated within your being. And when it is, then law of attraction starts matching you up with it. So you say, well, I have some activated thoughts that serve me, but I have some thoughts that activate rather easily that don't serve me. I think I will deactivate those. We say, go ahead. And you say, okay, I'm going to deactivate that. And we say, but you just activated it. And you say, well, I'm going to deactivate that now. I'm not going to ever think about that again. And we say, you just activated it more. And you say, well, maybe if I could tell you how long I've been having that activated, or maybe if I could explain to you why it's activated, maybe if you would just understand that it's not my fault that it's activated, then maybe it would be deactivated. And we say, as long as you're talking about it, it's activated. So how do you deactivate something that you don't want active in your point of attraction? We say, you activate something that you do want active in your point of attraction, because you don't activate something that you want and something that you don't want at the same time. So the key to activating that which serves you is to think about that which serves you. But sometimes you have had a thought activated for such a long time. It happened when you were little, law of attraction then answered it. So evidence rallied around you, it became your belief. And not because you are unwise, it became your belief because you offered the vibration, law of attraction actualized around it, the evidence supported the belief, and now you say, it's factual. And we say, so what? There are facts that please you and facts that don't please you. You can choose which you activate. So we have a question for you. If you were to be asked the question, which would you choose? Would you choose truth or untruth? What would you choose?
One that feels good.
Get out. He's right. If you were offered the choice, would you choose something that feels good or something that feels bad? You would choose something that feels good. But the real question is, we're not asking you. Yes, we are. What do you choose? Something that is true or something that feels good? That's the differentiation that you want to begin to make, because most, without thinking about it from the framework that we are offering here, would say, well, I would choose truth no matter what. And we say, well, the truth of it is people get run over by trucks. The truth of it is people get cancer. The truth of it is there is violence happening on your planet. The truth of it is there is genocide happening on your planet. The truth of it is there are all kinds of things that you don't want to experience. And so when you say, I'm going to be truthful, what you're saying is, I'm going to open any old bag of any old thing, and if it's happened to anybody and therefore it must be true, I'm going to activate it in my vibration. And we say, we would make a decision now that nothing is more important than that I feel good. Because when you make that decision that nothing is more important than that you feel good, then you automatically begin to make the differentiation of the vibration of your choice. You begin to practice vibrations that feel good. You begin to practice vibrations that feel good and make them familiar vibrations, and law of attraction helps you every step along the way. In other words, all you have to do is reach for one little scenario, play it over in your mind until you've activated it pretty good, and then law of attraction will respond to it and you're off and running. But as physical humans, and this is a very good thing, you have been trained by those around you, you are born to be this way, you are ravenous about wanting information. So you are collecting information all over the place. And that's a wonderful thing. You said you would do that. You said, I will go forth as a creator on the leading edge of thought, in a sea of contrast, the likes of which the universe has never known. And that contrast will inspire me to new pointed desire. And you knew the thrill of having the new desire born within you. You knew what a very, very good thing that was. You also knew that you were born with a guidance system that would help you to assimilate the vibrations that you were picking up, choose those that are serving you, release those that are not serving you, and allow the well-being that is natural to you. Creation is 3 steps. You got to decide what you want, and that is ever so easy in this sea of contrast. You know, at all levels of your being, preferences are being born out of you constantly. And as these preferences are being born, Source is hearing them and answering them. Not saving them up until you're 16. Not saving them up until you're worthy. Answering them every time you utter them. Not utter them with your words. Not utter them with your worthiness, because you always are worthy. Utter them with your vibration. Utter them with your preference. Utter them with your awareness. Utter them with your observation. Utter them with your remembering of something or your observing of something. In other words, you are always uttering or oozing or radiating a vibration that is being matched by law of attraction. So since this is happening all conscious waking hours, since you are emanating this signal, asking the majority of the time, preferring the majority of the time, you can't shut it down. You were born to prefer. And Source hears you. And so Source receives every request, answers it fully, lines up circumstances and events to satisfy it, but you have to be in the receiving mode of what you're asking for. Someone said the other day, how does prayer fit into this? And we said, well, you could offer a prayer from step 1. In step 1, you are usually standing. In step 1, you are usually, is it coming through the speaker? In step 1, you are usually standing in some contrast. And as you are standing in the contrast, you are not a pure match to your desire. And so as you are aware that step 1 is the asking mode and step 3 is the receiving mode, and that both modes are necessary for perfect creation, you may begin to realize that since step 1 happens so naturally, that your best emphasis is upon step 3.